So we are entering on the third lecture, third part of this same first chapter of the very interesting book of Rabindranath Tagore, Sadhana. As we are saying in the second part, we have cut it by battery. So, he says, let us come a little bit back, in Gita, Bhagavad Gita, also a very important book, as we all know, in Indian tradition, in the perennial tradition. In Bhagavad Gita, we are advised to work disinterestedly, abandoning all lust for results. Many outsiders conclude from this teaching that the conception of the world as something unreal lies at the root of the so-called disinterestedness preached in India. But the reverse is the truth. The being who aims at his own aggrandizement underrates everything else. Compare it with himself, or compare it with this communion with unity, I would say. The rest of the world is unreal. Thus, in order to be fully conscious of the reality of all, human being has to be free himself from bonds of personal desires. This discipline we have to go through to prepare ourselves for our social duties, for sharing the burdens of our fellow beings, as I have read in the last part of the second enregistrement video. And so, the infinite in India was not a thin non-entity void of all content. The rishis or the master or the clairvoyants or the realized beings of India asserted emphatically, to know him in this life is to be true. Not to know him in this life is the desolation of death. Iya shet aveti ata satya masti, nache iya avedit mahahati vinashti. How to know him then? By realizing him in each and all. Bhuteshu, Bhuteshu, Vishantya. Realizando em todos os elementos da natureza, em todos os seres. Não apenas, not only realizing him in all elements of nature, in all things. Not only nature, but in the family, in society, in the state. The more we realize the world conscious in all, the better for us. And so, Rabindranath says that he's very happy to remember, to know that his poet prophets of India in so times ago had this greeted world with the glad recognition of kindred, of the affinities. It was not an anthropomorphic hallucination. It was not seeing human being reflected everywhere in grotesquely exaggerated images, as we can see in some conceptions of God. And witnessing the human drama acted on a giant scale in natural arena of fighting of lights and shadows, as we can see in the Greek, for example. On the contrary, it meant crossing the limiting barriers of the individual to become more than human being, to become one with all. It was not a mere play of imagination, but it was the liberation of conscience from all the mystification and exaggerations of the self. These ancient seers or rishis felt in the serene depth of their mind that the same energy which vibrates and passes into the endless forms of the world manifests itself in our inner being as consciousness, and there is no break on it. For these seers there was no gap nor breach of continuity in their luminous vision of perfection. They never acknowledged even that itself as creating a chasm in the field of reality. They said, his reflection is dead as well immortality. Yashya Shramyamritam Yashya Mrityu. They did not recognize any essential opposition between life and death, and it is said with absolute assurance, it is life that is death, prano mrityu. They celebrated with the same serenity of gladness, life in its aspect of appearing and in its aspect of departure. That which is past is hidden in life, and that which is to come. Namo astu yahate, namo astu parayate, praneha bhutam bhavyancha. Also, this continuity of conscious and life. They know that mere appearance and disappearance are on the surface like waves on the sea, but life, which is permanent, decay, knows no decay or diminution. Everything has sprang from the immortal life and is vibrating with life. Yadidan kincha prana ejati nishritam. For life is immense, prano virat. This prana is infinite. This is noble heritage from our forefathers, waiting to be claimed by us our own. This ideal of the supreme freedom of conscience is so to be developed by our inner hearts and beings, like a holy grail, a cup of amrita that we should drink times to times in meditations, and all the time in this expanded awareness of this universal sympathy, of this feeling of love and devotion and gratitude. It is not merely intellectual or emotional, says Rabindranath Tagore. It has an ethical basis and it must be translated into action. In Upanishads it is said, Sarva yapi sa bhagavan tasmat sarvagata shivaha. The Supreme Being, its all-pervading, therefore is the innate truth or bliss, Shiva in all. Sarvayapi sa Bhagavan. This adorable being, this being that we should feel more love, is all-pervading. And as bliss and beatitude and love is the goal of us and is our inner essence. And it says to finish in this chapter, to be truly united in knowledge, love and service with all beings, and thus to realize to be truly united in knowledge, like we are doing now, in knowledge, in expanding your soul and mind, and in love with the heart, and in service with the hands and feet, with all beings, and thus to realize oneself in the all-pervading God is the essence of goodness, and this is the keynote of the teachings of the Upanishads. Life is immense, prana virat. The divine life energy is infinite, is immense. And so we finish to read this first chapter of the very valuable book of Rabindranath Tagore called Sadhana, where he asks us to outgrow from our limited walls into our fancy desires and disillusions, and to work more to be in a state of communion with all beings and inner communion with the spiritual supreme being that is also the universal life and energy and the unified field from which, if we meditate, if we close the eyes and do some silence, and if we become aware that He is also the breath of our soul, and so we can inspire and inspire His light and energies, slowly our spiritual eye in the area of the forehead will become more open, and you will see His light, and we can see even more than that. We can see the spiritual realms, the rishis, and the flowers, and the geometrical and archetypal forms and patterns. So this chapter of the relation of the universal conscious and individual conscious, it can be said also to be a page of the relation of the human being with the unified field of energy, conscious and information, and from there receive more intuitions in order to get more capacity to be in perfect comprehension and acting in a dharmic way. As you know, India is calling the Sanatana Dharma, meaning that is the land of the Dharma. Dharma as being the perception and the living of the true harmony of action, feeling and thinking with others, with ourselves, with the cosmos, and act according to our Swadharma, our own Dharma. And that is what Rabindranath Tagore has given to us in this so beautiful first chapter. I hope to comment a little bit more one or two of other chapters, but I was invited to do that, as we have made some comment in a video on YouTube on Rabindranath Tagore biography that was with a very inappropriate music and made with some errors, and maybe also it happens just to discredit or to make less felt and less loved the message. And a lady, Mehua, has agreed with me, and we made some talk, and then I promised to make some small commentary and to share it in English, as I have written a nice article on the 7th of May, when it was the 156th year of the anniversary of the birth of Rabindranath Tagore. I made in my blog, who has my name as the playlist in YouTube, in the blogger, I've written a nice article about Rabindranath Tagore and how he was also felt and seen by some Portuguese and from Portuguese or Indian born in Portuguese India and Goa, and try to raise more the actuality of his so important and so sensible message for education, in Shantiniketan for spiritual realization, for poetry, for sensibility, for being one with the cosmos. So let us be in the home in silence. May the light